Well, I mean, you may not think so looking at the sky, but I'm just looking around in here at old friends. I'm hoping to be listening to old friends calling in and to help us, this radio station. I tell you, I've been listening to this radio station now since I left. I've been listening to this radio station, and I'll tell you now, this station never sounded so good. I not just because I'm here. I'm talking about all week long I've been listening. I said, this is a great radio station. And in the meantime, I have been told that there are more listeners of this radio station in the jazz world, jazz radio, than anybody else in the country, any other station. Isn't that great? I feel proud of that. I was here a long time in that period of time when they were sort of evaluating listenership and all that stuff. So wonderful for the applause and received by the people here very happily and kindly, and saying, we knew that we could do it. We know that we're great, and I know that you're great. I mean, I thought I was going to be a little bit late today. I was in the phone in the car listening to Alan Rock's jokes, and I thought this was going to slow me down, but it didn't. Right here on time to begin another 3 hours of jazz on the beach, and I've got some wonderful sounds. I'm looking forward to just hearing the sounds. I was saying to myself yesterday, why are you looking forward to being at the radio station tomorrow? I said, I certainly am. And so my inner self said, why? And I said, well, yeah, okay, listening to the music that I've picked out for this 3 hours, I'm looking forward to hearing that music that I love. But then I'm looking forward to seeing the people that I've loved for a long time. And I'm looking forward to hearing some of those names, even though they're first names only. I know who was behind those first names. I just had that feeling. And I'm looking forward so much to hear from our old friends, some of whom go back for many, many years, listening to jazz on the radio right here, 89.9 FM. It's jazz and more. It's the best it's ever been, is what I'm saying, at WUCF. Well, let's get started with Jazz on the Beach. And, of course, the reason I'm here is because I wanted to help out in this fundraising drive. I wanted to, I wouldn't say bring up the rear, but I'm in good shape as far as bringing up the latter part of the whole program this week. And I always have that good feeling that, hey, well, however we end up in Jazz on the Beach, well, that's what's going to do it for the station. I may be wrong, but we're close enough to it anyway. And so if you just call us and ask me, you want my help? I'll say absolutely. 823-6400. See, I know the phone number already, and I hope you do too. Give us a call and say, hey, Jack, we're back with you, and I'm going to give you my pledge of support in this final part of the WUCF Pledge Week. And we'll both Keon and I, looking forward to Keon. I always work with her, and kind of a happy feeling in my mind because I like her so much and she does such a great job. So, Keon, thank you. Welcome to Jazz on the Beach.
Oh, thank you, Jack. It's great to see you. And I know we're going to hear from a lot of your Jazz on the Beach fans today.
I hope
so. You're our cleanup batter with the pledge drive, bringing in the all of your fans to call and support the station during our pledge drive. And you gave the phone number. I'm going to do it one more time. 407-823-6400 is the number to call to show your love and support for jazz, and especially for Jazz on the Beach with Jack Simpson. So we hope to hear from you now. We're going to be playing some music for the next 3 hours, so sit back and enjoy and make your contribution to support 89.9. 407-823-6400.
First off, the tune is Nice and Juicy, played by a Tampa-based band with a trumpet player who sounds somewhat like Maynard Ferguson, but his name is Dan McMillian, and he's playing Nice and Juicy. Yes, that's Dan McMillian with Nice and Juicy. Dan McMillian and that band did one appearance in Cocoa Beach. I don't know, must have been a couple of years ago or more, and impressed a lot of people, although the diehard Maynard fans were saying, yeah, almost as good as Maynard. But he is quite a trumpet player, is Dan McMillian, and I hope you enjoyed the opening of Jazz on the Beach with some kind of good sounds there. I hope for good sounds in everybody's ears. Our ears are waiting for those good sounds when the phone rings and the pledgee says, hey, I'm ready to help you support this radio station, particularly during Jazz on the Beach. And silently I would say, why is that? Well, you play sounds that I like. I like what Alan Rock does, but your sounds are a little bit different from his, but we like his too. And in fact, what you just said about it being never sounded so good, well, we agree. I've heard people say that the station has sounded very great. And this is not, I checked on this. I said, is there somebody up in Pennsylvania sending out a list of music for you to play? And I found out that was not the case. In fact, I was looked at like, what do you mean? What do you mean somebody's doing something like that? No, but we're doing it here. What you hear is not only what you get, but what we have decided that we should provide to you. We think after all these years of running a radio station, and I'm thinking about Keon Riley, who's sitting across from me now. When I heard that she was the one, almost, there's an engineer, I think, Carissa involved in that too, but it's a local selection of music. And when I hear that, and I was listening several times this week, maybe more, maybe I listened more this week, because I knew I was going to be here, on a Saturday. And when I listen to it all the time like that, I say, wow, that's great. And the music, I love it. And it's true, and I'm not lying. And I'm not lying when I say it's to your advantage to keep this stuff going. Never as good is what I'm saying. I think I should be able to say that with a certain amount of accuracy. I've been around this station many, many years, and I've been around jazz for more years than that. And so when I say I know what I'm talking about, what is good jazz, what is not good jazz, and as Duke Ellington said, that's the only way to judge it. How do you judge your music? It's either good or bad. Mm-hmm. At WUCF, you're listening to the best. I'm telling you why. Call us, won't you? What's that number again, Keon?
407-823-6400. That's the number to dial to make your contribution, to make your pledge to 89.9. We're raising funds to support this radio station to keep jazz music on the air and coming your way. And we're specifically raising funds to support Jack Simpson and Jazz on the Beach. Jack in the studio with us live today, playing some music. So won't you call and show your love and support right now, 407-823-6400.
Right. We've got some, I was about to say that during Jazz on the Beach, you may be listening to some sounds today that, what are they, old sounds? Some of them are old sounds. Some of the classic sounds of jazz. Some of the fairly new sounds. But there's a variety. It's what I've tried to set up on Jazz on the Beach always, is a variety of sounds, knowing what my listeners like. And I know the listeners to Alan Rock, they're laughing their way to the bank or the phone, I should say.
That's right. We hope they're laughing. Some of those jokes are pretty bad. I don't know.
But Alan's an old pro, He's been in this business a long, long time, beginning in Miami years ago. Been in jazz for a long time. And, Alan Rock has done a great service to jazz in his monthly jazz concerts that he puts on. And so there's certainly one reason for you to listen to live music is what the concerts that Alan provides. Some of the finest jazz musicians in the world are right here in the Orlando area. Alan does that for you. And yeah, sure, okay. So he talks about it on the air. He talks about jokes on the air. So there's trivia items. I say, I never knew that. See, well, that's the idea. It's a sound that he's hoping you feel good about it. And Well, okay, we got a call from a familiar figure. The first one, and that's an encouraging thing to do. I know you're trying to encourage the members of the family, and we have a few more who could help us out today. But not just my family, how about you joining my radio family? And I'm looking forward to hearing some familiar names. Yeah, my daughter's name is familiar. How about you? You're a familiar name. I'll bet if I knew it, I bet if you called me, I'd say, yeah, I know that guy. I know that girl. I know that listener. Why don't we do it? It's important. It's important to keep this kind of music on the air. Again, my comment this week to myself was, where else can you hear this? Not just in the Orlando area now, but a lot of other cities are not providing this kind of jazz service that WUCF does. It's countrywide that you look for it, and countrywide, what, statewide? No, not statewide. Citywide, you're going to hear it. WUCF-FM Orlando, 89.9. That's where jazz is, and jazz and more, too. Yeah, the best, and not the best is yet to come. The best is right here. Never heard it so good. Cajon, I'm telling you this, and I'm not exaggerating. I've been listening all week, honestly. Not to say I wasn't listening anymore, but I've listened more this week. And I'm saying to myself, they've never sounded this good.
Well, thank you, Jack. We're working really hard, and you know what really helps is a lot of our listeners have commented, and they tell us the kind of music that they like to hear, and that's what we do. We try to play the music that people want to hear. We've had a lot of folks say, hey, we really like the big band. Make sure you keep playing the big band. We have folks that comment and they enjoy the Freddie Cole. We've been playing Freddie Cole's new CD. He's got a tribute out to his big brother, Nat King Cole, and a lot of folks have responded to that. So I encourage your listeners, when you call in to make your pledge contribution this afternoon, I should say, at 407-823-6400. I encourage you, when you make your contribution, to also give us your comments and tell us the music that you like to hear, the artists that are your favorites, and then we in turn make this a better radio station for you. And that's how it works. It's a partnership with our listeners and this radio station. So please give us a call today while Jack is here, and make your contribution and pledge to support Jazz 89.9. It's only through your contribution and support that we're able to keep this radio station on the air. So we hope that when we go back to music here in just a moment, that you'll go to your phone and dial 407-823-6400. And Jack's got some more great music for you.
I do. I'm talking about the big bands. It's not the very next one, but the one after that, we'll hear from Artie Shaw and Billie Holiday. So,
that sounds
I'm
great.
Looking forward to that. But right now, it's a classic jazz thing going back into the 40s. Miles Davis playing a tune called Godchild. I always enjoyed listening to that Godchild. It was written by a pianist by the name of George Wallington. And it sounds like an English name, but when I found out that there's really his real name was an Italian name, and he was living in southwest Florida. And I'm not quite sure whether he's still alive or not. But anyway, he certainly did a good job in writing this tune. It's Godchild.
tuned into Jazz and More, 89.9, your listener-supported public radio station here at the University of Central Florida. We have Jack Simpson and Jazz on the Beach underway, and we are in the very last day of our Spring Pledge Drive. It's your time to get your contribution in and show your appreciation for Jack Simpson and the many years that he has been bringing you Jazz on the Beach. Won't you please call right now, our pledge line, and make your contribution at 407-823-6400. And Jack, we just had one of your good friends from New York calling in to say hello. Arnie Perez calling and saying he's listening to you in New York and wanted to say hello.
I'm just about to remind Arnie Perez that, hey, if he wants to hear that number again, here it is, right? 823-6400. That's the number down here, Arnie, and we're trying to play some good sounds, as I'm sure you can recognize as you're listening to us. But thanks for listening anyway. Good to hear from you, Arnie. Okay, well, we just heard Miles Davis and company, and the big band. Actually, we're going back to about the same period in time with Billie Holiday's only appearance or only recording, and we hear this. I know that we hear this many times when somebody says, "Hey, we're going to hear from Billie Holiday," and what do you hear? Well, you hear Billie Holiday singing "Any Old Time" with Artie Shaw. That's it. That's the only thing she recorded with Artie Shaw, and then she walked off the stand. She was not about to take the kind of abuse that she was getting on the stand in the location where these concerts were taking place. But anyway, yes, you're going to hear her again. There's something about this, her voice, that has, to me, when I hear her voice, I say, I don't care how many times I hear it. I just dig listening to Billie singing "Any Old Time." There's something in her voice that, as soon as she starts out, it gets into me. And then we're going to go right from Artie Shaw, backing up Billie Holiday, into a two-part thing. I guess it was on two sides of a 78 RPM record. It's called The Blues, Part 1 and Part 2. So we're standing by for that. But in the meantime, say, yeah, okay, I'll stand by while I'm talking on the phone. And just call that number, won't you? And say, hey, how about I'm another old friend of Jack Simpson, and I haven't talked to him or I haven't listened to him for a long time. It's good to hear him on the radio. I don't really want to put words in your mouth, but that's what I'm doing, really. Not necessarily the words, it's the phone call and the support at this radio station from you, okay? And once again, 823-6400 with Jazz on the Beach. Call now, huh?
Just the asking, darling. Any old time you need me, I'll be there. With love that's lasting, darling. All through the years we'll stand together, sharing the tears and stormy weather and the sunshine. Will be yours and mine. Any old time you're blue, you'll have our love to chase away the blues. And any old thing you do, I'll
Yes, that's Artie Shaw. It's good to hear that again, the way he played, too. Of course, you'd have to say, well, what about Benny Goodman? Well, sure, Benny Goodman. They were two tremendously talented clarinetists who sounded quite a bit different from each other, as a matter of fact, and they knew it, and they were certainly far from being close friends, I'll tell you that. But Artie Shaw was quite a character, as I'm sure you know all about Artie Shaw, but I'm not quite sure who the soloists were. Probably Billy Butterfield on trumpet, and perhaps Georgie Auld on tenor saxophone, with that two-part thing of the blues, Artie Shaw. You're listening to Jazz on the Beach. I'm Jack Simpson, and Keon and I are here asking you to participate also in this program. Do your bit. Call us and say, yes, I'll help you to support this radio station for another year or another month, 3 months, whatever you'd like to do. And all we're asking you to do right now is to call us, and somebody will tell you more about it. When you call and say, hey, if I pledge $60 or $120 or whatever, what are the premiums here? I haven't heard you saying very much about the premiums. That's true. I haven't said very much about the premiums. I don't. There are so many premiums, perhaps, that I couldn't keep up with it, and I said to myself, well, the people who are listening to our show are not really concerned with the premiums, although when I see what some of those premiums are, I say, hey, don't pass up a chance. Take advantage of it, well, along with your pledge to make us all happy and to make the business keep on running here, as we're hoping it will do. But also make yourself happy with having something to listen to, some special thing that you may like to hear. And Keon's looking at the list right now.
I was going to tell you, Jack, and your listeners will be really interested in this. Everyone that pledges today, they're going to be entered into our drawing for a 1-year Central Florida Jazz Society membership.
Oh, wow.
And it's good for 2 people. It gives you tickets to all 9 of their upcoming concerts. It also gives you the valet parking. And all of your entry fees for 2 people. And if you're familiar with Central Florida Jazz Society concerts, they put on great concerts every month, kind of during the school year. It's like from September through May. And so this is quite a value because it's worth over $250 to get you this membership, to get you into all the concerts for 2 people. So everyone that participates today, your name is entered into this drawing. We'll do the drawing at the end of the day, and you just might win. So there's a good little extra thing. All you have to do is make a pledge. There's no minimum amount. You could make a $10 pledge, or you could make a $100 pledge. You'll still be entered into this contest. Sure.
Well, I used to be familiar with the Central Florida Jazz Society, but when the Space Coast Jazz Society, I don't know who went first on this, but they ended up meeting every month on the same day. And so, of course, I was sort of part founder of the Space Coast Jazz Society, so I feel a certain loyalty over there. But I would very much like to come over here once in a while. In fact, you brought up a good subject here, Keon. Lorraine and I are thinking about maybe this next month we can do something to come over and hear John Orsini, who will be playing for the
Central Florida Jazz Society
over here.
Great.
Sure. But anyway, that's a great idea, the premium there. That's something to at least shoot for.
You know, we've got a lot of jazz CDs that are available as thank you gifts. I was telling you about the Freddie Cole CD. His new CD is called He Was the King, and it's all tribute songs to his big brother, the late Nat King Cole, and it's just a great CD. Maybe we'll play a little bit of that later.
Yes,
we've got some of that, Jack, and that's available as a thank you gift for your $60 contribution. We can send you the new Freddie Cole CD. It sounds great. And he even plays piano on a couple of the songs, like his brother
we're
did.
familiar with Freddie Cole. I mean, he has appeared in Cocoa Beach more than once, and we found him to be a delightful person, as well as a very attractive entertainer. So, Freddie Cole, we're fans of Freddie Cole and the Space Coast.
Well, we are here at 89.9 too, and we hope that you're a fan of 89.9, and you can help us close out this Spring Pledge Drive by making your contribution during Jack Simpson's Jazz on the Beach. He's here live with us to encourage you to call and make your contribution, and some of you are doing that, but we hope that you won't miss your opportunity to support Jack and let him see your name as it comes in with your contribution. Our phone lines are open once again at 407-823-6400.
We ought to have live TV in here for these things so that you can focus on my face when I hear who's calling, and that they are calling, and that the station is being supported. I'd be very pleased. I would to smile at all times when that is happening. So keep these smiles coming, folks, and keep your phone calls in there, please. I'm Jack Simpson. It's Jazz on the Beach, and I love this program, and I think a lot of you do too. And I want to make it attractive. And sometimes I know I go a little bit. Well, maybe I do. I talk a little bit about my history and who I talk to and all that. But I'm getting to the end of my history soon. Maybe not soon. Come on now. But anyway, when I look back all the time now, I found that being 92 almost, you have a tendency to look back on what has happened, what you have participated in, who you met, who you talked to, what the kind of music was, and all that. So, yeah, I do all that. I'm just thinking about that on the next CD that we'll hear. Who's going to be playing? Let's say a guitarist, one of the best ones, Mundell Lowe. And, man, he used to be in and out of the studios in New York all the time until I found out that he'd moved to California. And that's what he's doing now in California. He's playing on one CD and one studio date and all the rest of it. And I had the chance to talk to Mundell, one of his performances over in the Orlando area sometime ago. And we have a new CD from Mundell, so he's apparently doing pretty well. The other reason I wanted to play this too is because my son, John, during the week, John said, "Hey, man, I really enjoyed your show last Sunday, and the guitarist music you played in the middle of that show really knocked me out." And so I said, "Wow, good, I'm glad you're listening," because John's a guitar player himself. And so, sure, I like to feel that we have our family listening, but also your family is listening too. If you have some young instrumental players who like jazz, or maybe you'll think they would like jazz if they hear it, ask them to listen to Jazz on the Beach. And say, hey, you might say, "Hey, is that jazz? That's great." We ask you to do that now. Why don't you give me a call and say, "You're right, Jack, 823-6400, and we'll say, "Thanks for listening. You're great, too." All right.
Okay, you've been listening to 89.9 Jazz and More. Jazz on the Beach is the program, and Jack Simpson is here with us live. We're raising funds to support Public Radio 89.9. Our phone lines are open if you'd like to call in your support and say hello to Jack. The number's 407-823-6400.
Yeah, well, I've just had a pleasant experience talking to one of my heroes of the past, and I haven't seen him or talked to him in a long, long time. Our friend Terry Gibbs called in from California. He's home there. And, of course, he and I do have something in common. We're both 91 years old now, and we'll be 92, I think, within 2 or 3 weeks of each other, September and October of this year. So, Terry, it's great of you to call. Thank you so much. Made me very happy. And we'll go back to our regular request that I'm making here to have our listeners call in and give us a pledge of their support to keep this kind of music going. You're keeping your kind of music going, Terry, and I look forward to whatever recording we can hear. We've got some great recordings of you of the past, and as I say, one of my heroes has always been Terry Gibbs. Thanks so much for calling in. And this special day from us here, Jazz on the Beach. I'm Jack Simpson. I've been at this radio station, I don't know, for 30-some years, 37 years maybe, a long time. I've been here a long time, Terry, since I guess it was.
Was it
used to see you at the
1981?
Village Lounge, and
Was it 1981 or 82 when you started here, Jack? Or do you remember?
it was 83.
83.
83.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, let's do the math real quick here. How long is
Terry Gibbs. I just love those things that he used to do years ago in the bebop era that he contributed so much to. And then, of course, as far as big bands are concerned, wow, Terry Gibbs' Dream Bands recordings were always some of the most exciting I think had ever been recorded. Live recordings with Terry out front driving the guys up there. So, yeah, once again, Terry Gibbs. Cheerio, I say, to Terry Gibbs. Right.
Absolutely. 33 years, Jack. That is how long Jack Simpson has been doing Jazz on the Beach here at 89.9. We've only been on the air for 37 years, and Jack has been a part of it for 33 years. That's great. You've had some listeners calling in, Jack.
Certainly did have some listeners calling in.
Big thank you going out to Carol.
We got from Rodney, we got a big 73. Thanks for the 73s, Rodney. And, well, maybe they're 88, sir. I don't know. But anyway, thanks, Rodney, for your message of support. And we'll move down the list here to Anonymous. I think I probably know you. And there's another Anonymous, too. Very generous callers. Thanks so much. Richard, thank you. And very much. I'm just saying thank you. I'm saying very much thank you, Richard. And another Anonymous here, Everett. We hear your name. We wrote your name down, and we thank you for calling in with your pledge of support. Chris, now I'm hung up a little bit on Chris. I'm not sure. We have a Chris here, of course, who's on the afternoon show.
Yeah.
To 89.9.
This is a different Chris.
I'm sure it's
This is a different Chris.
Yes, it is. I know a couple of different Chris's. And one of them was quite different. Maybe that's him who called it. Hey, Chris. Anyway, I'll say thanks very much, Chris, for your support. And let's keep it going. It's, what's that number again? 823-6400. I think I got it right that time. Area code 407. And, somebody just walked in here and said, hey, you look like the soul of energy. This is the kind of stuff that makes me the soul of energy, believe me, this radio station, the music that we're playing, and I'm so glad that you are listening to know what kind of music that I like. We're playing some of my favorite things, and we're getting ready to play Woody Herman, and I've got an apology to make to Bruce. Bruce, I could not come up with the other stuff that you asked for, but I'm trying to do the best I can, so we'll be hearing some kind of classic Third Heard, I think, Woody Herman, from an album with a title of Standard Times. We'll hear that in just a moment because I'm not quite ready yet. I'd like to make another plea for your calling us. Not you, Chris, or not Woody. No, I'm not calling you. I'm assuming that you like the music so far. Big bands? Well, we got some big bands coming up right now. Woody Herman, one of my favorite big bands. And so take the opportunity. We'll run it until we reach the top of the hour, or thereabouts. We're at the top of the hour. Well, okay. So we'll keep on going after the top of the hour with Woody Herman. And I'm not quite sure if the titles will mean much to you. I don't think they're standards. Well, maybe they are. But anyway, while they're playing, we'll give you the opportunity to call us. That number again, 823-6400. And we sure would like to turn around here, look through the window at the volunteers who are on the phones. That's what I'm talking about. Make them work on the phones. Please do call us right now, won't you? I'm Jack Simpson saying welcome. Herman. And that East of the Sun. This just doesn't sound like East. I was about to say it sounds like East of the Sun. It doesn't sound like Third Herd somehow, but very nice. It certainly was not the second herd that Terry Gibbs was such a great part of there. Wow. Anyway, we didn't hear that. We heard maybe, I'm inclined to think, the band that plays the blues. But maybe our friend Bruce will figure that out for us. It's on the Ocean label, which is from Spain. And so, I have some weird CDs, but OCM have come up with a couple of interesting things that I've enjoyed. Anyway, you're listening to Jazz on the Beach. I'm Jack Simpson, and we have a lot more friends here to thank. But I'm saying, even though we're saying a lot more friends, and we appreciate it very, very much, I'm just saying, don't think this is the end. We're looking for a lot more friends, and I know we have a lot more friends out there who are listening to Jazz on the Beach today, maybe for the first time, but maybe for the 20th year or something like that. I know I get people call me occasionally. Jack, they say, well, we were listening to you when I was in school. Ron Texera does that at Heidi's. He said, here's Jack Simpson. And, he says, I always try to make him feel bad when I say, I listened to him when I was in, he doesn't say high school, he said junior high,
Oh, goodness.
And he said, just to make him feel good. I said, hey, you're making me feel good that you're listening to me at that age. See what kind of a musician you turned out to be, Anyway, we're laughing. Well, I'm laughing. I'm feeling good because I'm holding in my hand another list of friends who have called in already. Martin called in. Thanks, Martin. And Frank called in. Hey, Frank, thank you very much. Wow. And Anonymous. And we think we know Anonymous for many years, talking about one of those old friends. Here he is again with a new name. It's Anonymous. Thank you so much.
We know who who that is.
We know who Anonymous. We know, indeed. And we appreciate Anonymous, believe me. And then Linda Pearson called in from Palm Springs. How about that? Hey, Linda. Haven't seen you in a while. And we enjoy your CDs there, too. In fact, now that I know that you called in, I should have had one in my back. But I don't. Sorry, Linda, but we always enjoyed that, especially the one that you did with your son. We love that one. Yeah, very, very nice. And then Carol. Thanks, Carol. I know some Carols, and I know some lovely Carols, and one called in today to say thanks a lot. Thanks a lot to you, Carol. That's what Jack Simpson's saying. I'm free to be saying non-anonymous. That's me. And so I'm Jack saying thanks a lot, everybody. Wonderful. Keep it going. Keep it going for those people on the phones. They are smiling, too. Thank you. As we go into the second hour, actually, we're way into the second hour. That's how I'm losing track of time. But here's something that is a special thing to me. When I came over here, I'll go with one of my memories here. When I came over from England in 1947, it was the 1st of December 1947, as a matter of fact, and I was in New York. I lived in the Bronx for a while. I was living in the Bronx, and Terry was living in Brooklyn about the same time. And but anyway, I lived in the Bronx, and I was making $28 a week doing something or another, but I didn't have a lot of money to go down to the jazz places. But one place I went was Carnegie Hall to see Dizzy Gillespie's big band. Okay, now that's not the one that was on the recording here before that, but boy, that really excited me. Dizzy at Carnegie Hall. We're going to hear Dizzy Gillespie concert at Carnegie Hall, which he did in 1960. And this was a band that had people like Clark Terry, Leo Wright on alto, many others that I don't want to spend the time, but we had quite a time listening to that band. Lalo Schifrin, I think, was already on the keyboards there with Dizzy. We're going to hear the prelude for that concert at Carnegie Hall, and but first I'm kind of taking the microphone away, maybe too much from Keown. Keown, always does a great job in talking about why you should call us here at 823-6400. And here she is again.
Well, thank you, Jack. And I think most people are here listening to the radio to hear you. But I will break in just real quickly to remind folks of our phone number, 407-823-6400. We're wrapping up our Spring Pledge Drive. And as usual, Jack Simpson, he's our cleanup batter. So if you want to show your love and your support for Jazz on the Beach and Jack Simpson and his 33 years of broadcasting here on 89.9. We've only been on the air for 37 years, so Jack has been holding up the station almost single-handedly for a good portion of that time. Show your appreciation and support and make your tax-deductible pledge by calling 407-823-6400. If you're listening from out of the country or long distance and you don't want to call, you can make your pledge online at our website. That's WUCF.org. But again, this is the only Saturday you're going to have the chance to support Jazz on the Beach with Jack Simpson. So please let us hear from you. We'd love to pass along your comments to Jack and say hello to him for you as well. So call in with your contribution right now, 407-823-6400. All right, Jack. What, we got some Dizzy Gillespie coming up now?
Right. It's called Prelude, and it's from the original album, which is a great one, called Gillespiana. It's kind of a sweet thing with busy.